and it is looting it, and it is looting your future and your children's future and your grandchildren's future, and we have elected a generation of public officials doing nothing about it. You know, as I sit here and I listen to all these officials coming in, oh, I spent some money here and I spent some money here. You know what the definition of insanity is? It's doing the same thing over again and expecting a different result. We have a government that is controlled by the banks, and they have gone out and they bought all this junk and this toxic stuff, and then they take the taxpayers' money and say, oh, let us sell it to you. And then they have the lunatics in charge of the Federal Reserve. Let's set the interest rates to zero. You know what interest rate zero means? It means you don't have any retirement income. It means the people coming up can't afford to retire because they can't save any money and make any income. It means the young people can't have any jobs because there's no retirement and there's no retirement income. And we have a generation of imbeciles who think that the way to solve the problem of too much debt is to go borrow more and more and more money and spend more and more and more money. And what's the result? We now have a total corruption of the moral culture of the country because we reward the profligate and the debtors and the insiders and the Solyndra people and the people who know how to spend your money better, like that progressive candidate. We must do this, we must do that, we must do this. It hasn't worked. It has got us bankrupt. We now have a federal government that out of every dollar it spends, it is printing 40% out of it out of thin air. And when countries start to do that, countries fall. When Hitler took over Germany, they were only printing 30 cents out of every dollar they're spending. We're at 40 cents. We're on the edge of a cliff. And the fact that we have some people who can come around here and dance and say, oh, look, I got us a little closer to an even bigger cliff by printing more money, that is idiotic. That is something that the judgment of history tells us will not work. We have got to elect a different kind of people who are willing to tell you the truth and willing to hold people accountable. We have these senators out there who are stealing $1 billion from their clients, and they get away with it. We have these Wall Street firms who are selling garbage out one door and betting against their clients in the other door, and they get away with it. You know what the last Democratic Attorney General did? He rubber-stamped a 50-state settlement to let the banks off the hook for the largest scheme of mortgage fraud in history, and oh yes, they'd pay a $20 billion fine that was actually paid by the taxpayers. So when people talk about what they're doing for the scammers and the protecting this little thing and that little thing, we've got serious problems in this country. Now, I'm running for Attorney General because I'm worried about the future of the country. I'm worried about the rule of law. I'm worried about the fact that nobody's accountable in this state. Whether it's the mayor and his underage boys, or the governor and his underage girls, or this Columbia River crossing where there's the secret 4% kickbacks, and nobody's willing to do anything about that either. We have a culture of corruption in this state and in this nation, and we just have these glad people come around, everything's fine here, and I'm taking care of this little thing and that little thing, and the country is going down the toilet.